It is launch day for CBS's new podcast, Agent of Betrayal, The Double Life of Robert Hanssen. It's hosted by Major Garrett. The podcast explores the story of one of the most damaging spies in U.S. history. Take a listen to the preview.
His espionage contributed to the execution of at least 3 individuals, and he caused hundreds of millions of dollars of damage to United States intelligence programs.
He violated everything that my FBI stood for.
And Major joins us now. He's CBS News' chief Washington correspondent. This is a fascinating story.
Yeah.
A lot of folks know Robert Hanssen died over the summer, but you were working on this long before. What drew you to this?
So you remember, Scott, during lockdown, some people learned to make sourdough bread, some people learned to knit, or they worked on a musical instrument that they've never had a chance to. I created another podcast. 2 years of working on this. Why? Because having been in Washington since 1990, Scott, I have some familiarity with people who shade the truth or straight up lie. But I've never met or encountered or researched a liar of the magnitude, deadliness, and sort of 360 range as Robert Hanssen, a trusted insider in the FBI who worked on counterintelligence, sophisticated spy detection, worked next to the best in America at spy detection, and went undiscovered for more than 20 years as the most damaging spy in FBI history. His level of betrayal, his ability to conceal himself, all of that really set a hook in me.
One of the people you spoke with in the first episode is an FBI counterintelligence agent named David Major. I want to play some of what he told you, and I'll ask you something about it after this. Take a listen.
The budget people are some of the most sensitive and important people in the Bureau. There was a few people who knew everything, and because he was a budgeteer and an analyst, he almost knew everything.
As such, Hanssen could graze on a buffet of sensitive FBI documents.
You spoke to dozens of people. It's fascinating somebody with that prestige would sit down and want to talk about this.
Right.
How'd you do it?
More than 50 interviews. One of the reasons we were able to get to so many people is because this wasn't on camera.
Right.
Sometimes with sensitive cases like this, people don't want to talk about anything on camera. Podcast gives them a higher degree of comfortability. And it's really important what was mentioned there by David Major. One of the things that Robert Hanssen did that made him so successful is he went to lesser traveled places, bureaucratic places of the FBI, this idea that he was in the budget division. Why would the budget division be helpful to someone who wanted to spy for the Soviets against the United States? Well, when you have access to the budget division, among the things you can always check out is who's surveilling on the weekends, because there would have to be a special budget request for that time allotted, and there have to be a special payout for it. So all the while, Robert Hanssen knows if anyone's looking at him, everyone's checking on him. He was also kind of a computer geek, well before many of his FBI contemporaries. So he's roaming all over the FBI computer system, constantly watching to see if anyone has any whiff at all of what he's up to. That's one of the ways he became successful in that sense of the word, and highly damaging.
You did a lot of original reporting. This is a boatload of original reporting, including records obtained under the Freedom of Information Act. What struck you most? Maybe what surprised you in all that research?
All the things I've talked about surprised me. The depth and magnitude of this, the ability to hide within plain sight is a phrase we heard often. And this idea that the FBI was a different agency than it is now. For example, in 22 years, Robert Hanssen was never polygraphed. He was never given a financial audit of any kind. No one ever looked into anything about him, even though, as we document time and time again, there were red flags about his behavior. Things that people thought were strange, but not quite strange enough. What was that hesitation? Why was he able to cover his tracks so well? And here's the great thing about the Hanssen story. It represents, on one hand, Scott, the greatest failure in FBI history, this horribly damaging mole right under everyone's noses. And once they figured out who it was, the investigation and the trap they sprung to capture and make Robert Hanssen confess and plead guilty to monstrous espionage charges ranks for the FBI in its top 10 of most successful investigations. So right next to one another, you have the most conspicuous failure and one of the most conspicuous success stories.
Few quick housekeeping questions. When does this post?
Today. First episode is today. It is episodic in every sense of the word. You can't binge it, sorry to say, because we're still reporting it out, still producing it. We're a good 5 episodes in that are pretty well locked. Certainly one is all ready to go.
Is it every Thursday?
Every Thursday.
Okay, and it's about how long?
About 40 minutes.
Right. That's a lot to get in.
That's a lot to get in.
40
Perfect
minutes.
for a great workout on your elliptical or your Peloton, or for a nice long run or walk or anything you're doing.
And the takeout continues.
Takeout continues completely separate. Agent of Betrayal is just another one of my many side hustles.
Looking forward to it. Major, thank you very much. As a reminder, you can listen to Agent of Betrayal, The Double Life of Robert Hanssen, starting today, as Major says, on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. New episodes, as Major just told us, come out weekly on Thursdays. Major, looking forward to it. Thank you.